Hello, troopers, and welcome back to the 501st Com Chatter. If you didn't see the Instagram story, today, unfortunately, I am by myself. Chloe is not feeling very well, so unfortunately, it's just me today. So I hope you guys are prepared to listen to me rabbit on for about an hour talking about Skeleton Crew. But Chloe should be joining us in the chat throughout the show. So she's with us in spirit. Yes, as you can see, we're in a different setting today. We're going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about Skeleton Crew episode 4. We're going to be breaking it down, little things you might have missed and stuff like that. We do have some news to show you. So I've got some new release figures, stuff like that. So we're going to crack on with that. Again, it is just me, so bear with me. And if you are here and you're listening and you still want to listen, then thank you. And as you can see, Chloe is here in the chat, in spirit. Hey, troopers. Do you know what? We're thinking of catchphrasing that because it's our iconic line. So shall we get into today's episode? Now, we're going to start off with Mount Rushmore. So you know how it goes. We do this on our Instagram and TikTok each week, and we do a different topic. So last week we did Mount Rushmore Jedi. This week we've decided to go to the dark side, and we've done the Sith. Now let's get these up for you. Me and Chloe think you guys are probably going to agree with this one. The third one, I'm sorry, not the third one. The fourth one is a little bit controversial, so we say. Some of you are going to say, don't know about that one. But when I give the reason as to why, you're probably going to be like, makes sense. So let's get into the episode. So, starting off, we have probably the most obvious choice, so we say. So we have Darth Vader, one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. The first Sith that we see in Star Wars. His look is one of the most iconic, and obviously the whole tragedy of Anakin becoming Darth Vader as well is again just so amazing and so tragic as well at the same point. And you know, how can you not have a Sith Mount Rushmore without Darth Vader on it? He's got to be on that. So yeah, again, another one we think most of you will have on your list with this one. If not, let us know. Either comment down below who you think. So yeah, number 2, Darth Revan, my guy. I love Darth Revan. If you're a fan of the podcast, you should know that I'm a Revan stan. Just, you know, when you look at, again, if you know the story, you know why he's here. You know, one of the most iconic, if not, I'm not going to say most iconic Sith look, because Darth Vader I'd probably say is the most iconic, but Darth Revan has to be up there as like one of the most iconics. The purple and red lightsaber duo combo is so cool. If I was to do a cosplay, Revan's one of the choices that I'd want to do in Star Wars. I've got a couple. There's a sort of High Republic Jedi I'd quite like. I think that'd be quite a fun one to do. You don't see many cosplays of those. Revan, Clone Trooper, obviously. But yes, Revan's on that list. Again, I think you guys would agree with Revan being on one of the greatest Siths of all time. Number 3, this one I think is very obvious. Darth Sidious. This guy basically single-handedly wiped out the Jedi. Now, I know obviously some survived, like Yoda, Kenobi, Cal, Asajj, stuff like this. But, you know, when you think he ruled the galaxy as, you know, the Sith Emperor, and he literally had played a war, like he had the Clone Wars, and he played leader of both sides. You know what I mean? Like, he engineered that. Like, this whole thing was his plan. He, like, even after, like, he died, he was so strong in the Force as like a dark side that he was able to keep his like will alive and come back in the sequels, you know, and survive. This guy is the embodiment of the Sith. You know, this guy is Mr. Sith, if that was a thing. So he's got to get on this list, you know. So Chloe has put Vader, the most iconic movie villain for sure. How could he not be on our list? Exactly. And she also puts, I think Revan is so cool because of his storyline and his two sabers is different colors. Exactly. You know, this Revan is what, again, if you know the Old Republic like story well, you know why Revan is on here. Now the fourth one, again, like I said, a little bit controversial, and I'll go into the honourable mentions afterwards. But for me, it's got to be Darth Bane. Now, some of you will be saying, Darth Bane, who's that? Now, if you know anything about the Sith, you've obviously heard of the rule of two, which the Sith follow, which is there's a master, there is an apprentice, and you know there's always one to crave it and one to like what's the other one, like strive for it or to lose it, something like that. But basically, there's a master and apprentice, and that all started from Darth Bane. He created the Sith rule of two. He saw that having all these Siths that were basically like killing and destroying each other, it was literally going to bring the Sith, like they were going to put themselves into extinction. Whereas by creating a rule of two, there's always like a master to pass on the knowledge of the Sith to the apprentice, and then the apprentice will eventually kill his master and become the master with a new apprentice, as we see in the films. Now, again, people will say, why is he on this? But you got to realize that, like, every Sith after Darth Bane followed the rule of two, like literally all the way through to Sidious's end. Every Sith after Darth Bane, rule of two. Incredible. He is, if you're having a Sith list, this guy has to be on it. Has to be. Because without him, the Sith would not exist in Star Wars. Like, after him. Now, so again, that's why he's on this list. That, again, I will mention there is honourable mentions. Chloe has also just put Palpatine, not my favourite, however, we're talking about powerful Sith. You have to mention it. Of course you do, because, you know, look at what this guy did. So, honourable mentions. Darth Maul came up a lot. Again, really strong contender. But I think when you look at his story, it's like, yes, he was really, you know, powerful and such an iconic Sith. Like, but he was also defeated by a Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, at the time, you know. So, do you see what I mean? I know, obviously, he did survive, and he went on to, the fact that he survived that in itself is a miracle, and that his hate was so much that it kept him alive, basically. And he went on to live out the Clone Wars, and basically survive up until almost a new hope, really, in the sort of timeline. But it's just like I said, he was defeated by a Padawan, Obi-Wan, and this was the first time that the Sith had appeared in like over 1,000 years or whatever, So it's a bit of a hard one. Count Dooku was also an honourable mention, because like you look at like what he did as, he was obviously a former Jedi turned Sith. He took the arm of a young Anakin. Now, I know at the time he was still a Padawan and still young, but Dooku did cause Anakin, Kenobi, and all the other Jedi during the Clone Wars so much trouble. And, he was also playing leader of the Separatists as well at the same time. So, got to give him a shout out for that. Other Siths that we could have mentioned, Plagueis. This guy literally was able to change the midichlorians to keep someone alive, and obviously he ended up being killed by Palpatine. And obviously we got the iconic, did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? I love his name, by the way, Darth Plagueis the Wise. Such an iconic name. Also, there's Nihilus, Darth Nihilus, a bit of a favourite of mine. Again, this guy had the ability to basically like force take planets, So we're going to give him a little mention as well. But I think I'm really happy with the ones me and Chloe chose as the 4. Vader, Revan, Sidious, and Bane. Top 4 Sith. Again, if you disagree, that is absolutely fine. Let us know. We want to hear some of your opinions. We want it. So going on. Also, by the way, before we move on, the next one we will post in a couple of days, and we'll probably do, I don't know, bounty hunters, droids, something like that. As Chloe just mentioned, it's always so hard to narrow it down to the 4. There's so many cool stuff. Exactly. Even when we're coming up with these 4, me and Chloe have long debates over certain characters. Like, I might put forward a name, and Chloe's like, "That's a good shout, but what about this person?" And then I'm like, "Oh, actually, you might be right with that one." So it's very you got to give a bit of leeway, but I think we've with the ones that we post, we are both happy with it. It's not like, oh, I don't agree with that. And it is very hard because there's you've got to do 4, so give us a bit of slack. But like I said, we will do another one and then talk about it next episode. So again, it could be droids, bounty hunters, senators, something like that. So going on to release, we were meant to show you these figures last week, but we've now got the pictures of them so we can show you. So we have Star Wars Heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn. So this one, these figures are from the novels, and as you can see as well, they very cleverly done the back art to resemble Mads Mikkelsen, not Mads Mikkelsen, is it Lars Mikkelsen's Grand Admiral Thrawn, and it looks very cool. And he's obviously got this little pet dragon, Komodo dragon thing on him. It does look very cool in the way that you can have the little thing positioned on his arm. Very cool. These are vintage collection figures, by the way. So we also, to go with Thrawn, we have Captain Gilad Pelion. Now, Pelion obviously made his live action debut as a a hollow projection in the Shadow Council in Mando season 3. He is basically like Thrawn's right hand man, and we will probably see him when we next see Thrawn. He will obviously have met up with Thrawn and the Chimera on Dathomir and, rebuild the Empire with Thrawn as the leader. So again, a really cool figure, very detailed as well. Like if we have a little look here at the face, like the face sculpt on that is actually like incredible. Let's have a little zoom in. I know it's a bit, but look at that. That is insane. I didn't realize it was actually that detailed on this vintage collection figure. So well done, Hasbro, because that is very cool. Now, moving on, we have another heir to the Empire. We have Joruus C'baoth. He's basically like the main sort of antagonist in this, like the main villain. Very cool looking. He looks very like Sith. I love how he comes with like obviously the necklace that you can put on him. He also has like a Force lightning hand. You can change the lightsaber in his hand to like a hilt or a red one. I can't remember his name, but he reminds me of the sort of Jedi turned Sith that you come across on Dathomir in Jedi Fallen Order. I can't remember his name, but he looks a bit like him. Again, very cool figures. These are figures that I probably won't be getting for our collection just because like it's not like my favorite characters, but still very cool. So yeah, there is Alderaan Scully. I like to see that the sort of bottom of his robes is like the fabric material. Always nice to see. And you can even put the lightsaber on the belt as well, which I think is really sick. Wait, can you? Yes, you can. Which I love to see. Nice little bit of detail in there. Chloe's just put unlimited power. One of the most iconic Star Wars lines there. So we have a special free pack. It's a bit of a weird one, but I like it. It's the Journey of Anakin Skywalker free pack. So we have an Anakin Clone Wars. We have, it's basically calling it Anakin Skywalker, which is Clone Wars Anakin, Darth Vader, but when he was obviously still looking like Anakin. And then we've got Darth Vader when he's being electrocuted while he saves Luke in Return of the Jedi. Now, they do look quite cool. So here we have obviously a better look at them. So we got the Clone Wars one. Obviously, we got red lightsaber, Revenge of the Sith looking Anakin, obviously like we see in Ahsoka. And we have Vader, but obviously he's got like a blue sort of, almost like you can see in the picture in this one, you can see like the skull of him, like under the helmet, like you see in the film, which I think is quite cool. I mean, I don't know if I would get this as a free pack because I know people are going to probably go mad at me for this, but I don't really like Revenge of the Sith Anakin with a red lightsaber. For me, Revenge of the Sith Anakin, like look, I mean, with the blue, is one of the most iconic looks as a character, and I love it. I did like when they showed the red in Ahsoka, but I don't like it as like a character in the figure. Like the Ahsoka Anakin Funko that has him with the red lightsaber. I'm like, no, I don't want it. I like the blue. It's iconic. It's from that scene on Mustafar with him, or when you see him in the Jedi Temple. So cool. Now I will admit I did have a laugh during the next photo because so we got Anakin looking pretty strong and powerful, Anakin doing like the pose, and then we've just got Vader with like his arm chopped off, being like, ah! I was a bit like, if you were going to do something like this, maybe you could have done like Little Anakin or Attack of the Clones Anakin, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, and then a normal Darth Vader, not like Darth Vader being electrocuted. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would have made more sense to me. But hey, I'm not in charge of these things, and there's going to be some fans out there that really like these. So, hey, fair play to you. Moving on, we have. Oh, also before we do, so we have this comparison of the Ahsoka Clone Wars figure vintage collection on the left, and we also have the Anakin from the free pack here. So you can see that it's not the same figure. It is a little bit different. How like the shoulders, it's not like under the connection. The hair's a little bit lighter than the Ahsoka flashback Clone Wars. Yeah, I mean it's a really cool little detail that Chloe found and noticed and pointed out to me. So shout out to Chloe for noticing these things because I was a little bit more oblivious. But again, very cool, good little spot. We have Black Series. So we have a 2-pack. I think we've mentioned this one before. So it's the Phase 1 Clone Trooper and the Super Battle Droid, aka the Beefy Clanker. Now we do love a good Beefy Clanker on this one. Chloe just noticed. I just noticed one's got a cape. Yes, good spot. So the 3-pack Anakin has a cape. The Ahsoka flashback does not. Again, very good spot by Chloe. So we have Phase 1 Clone Trooper and Beefy Clanker Super Battle Droid. Double pack Black Series, very cool. I do like this. Like the detail on it as well. It's so cool. I love it. This is a possible because, like we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, me and Chloe have been mentioning about buying some Black Series figures because there's a lot of cool clone Black Series figures. And they're also re-releasing old ones as well. So this is a possible. I also like it's the Attack of the Clones line, shall we say? So yeah, very cool. We have Funkos. They have finally released Andor Funko Pops. This is Andor Season 1 Funkos, by the way. Now, I can't believe it's taken this long. I can't believe we got Skeleton Crew Funko Pops before Andor Funko Pops. Now, I know a lot of people like Andor, and I know a lot of people are not massive fans on it. I don't mind it. There's none of these figures that really stand out to me. I mean, okay, Kino Loy, maybe. I think I did put him as my top, TV, what was it? I think I put him as my top TV character of the year a couple of years ago when Andor came out. So we have a Cassian Andor and Kino Loy in their prison outfit with the blasters. One way out, one way out. I think that's quite cool. They are quite cool, and they do look good together as a duo. But if I was to get one of those, I'd probably say the Kino Loy one. We have Luthen Rail in his hooded cape disguise. I was thinking if they were going to do a Luthen Funko, they would do him as the shop owner disguise character that he plays. to like hide the fact that he's actually creating a rebellion, basically. But no, again, quite cool. But you can't really tell that it's Luthen unless you've seen the show, sort of thing. And then we've got Marva, but we've got her as the like hollow projection coming out of her droid that we see in the show, where she basically starts a revolution on the planet. I can't remember which one it is. But I love this concept as a Funko. Like, this is the first time that you've seen like a Funko of like a hologram from like something. And I think it's a clever way to do something a bit different, with Funkos. So here we have a better look at them sort of out of that box. Again, very cool. How, again, I love how Funko can just, it's literally the same head, but by changing the hair, the outfit obviously, and like the eyebrows, they generally look like the actors, and it's crazy how like Kino Loider literally looks like Andy Serkis. Is incredible. Chloe put, personally, I don't like how his hood is up because it doesn't look much like him. Exactly, like I just said, if they had done him as the shopkeeper with his like sort of wig hair and his extravagant outfit, it would almost make more sense. But hey, future Funko, probably. You never know. So yeah, that's it for the Funko news. Oh my god. No. This is something I'm very excited for. Chloe's not very excited for it because she showed me this and I immediately was like, I want it. I want it now. I want it. It is the Stellan Geos Legacy lightsaber from Disney Source. Oh, I'm shaking a little bit thinking about it. I love it. This is one of my favorite lightsabers. Now, I know if you guys know the podcast, you guys will know I've said in the past, I don't like cross guard lightsabers. And you're correct. I don't. But I make an exception for Stellan Geos because it's so elegant and High Republic, and I love his character anyway. He is like my favorite High Republic Jedi. And when me and Chloe had the very great opportunity to interview and meet Cavan Scott, I wore my High Republic Stellan Geos t-shirt. He is my favorite High Republic Jedi. I love it. And I didn't realize that they had done one of these sort of before, and it came in like a really nice special limited edition box. Came with like a cover, like a comic, and obviously it's limited edition. At the time, I think when it came out, I wasn't aware of the High Republic at all or whatever. Now that I am, and I'm getting back into it again because I had a little bit of break. I'm getting back into it. Because, by the way, like I said, there is so much High Republic stuff to listen, read, watch, whatever, like in terms of like comics and stuff like that. I needed a bit of a break, but I'm getting back into it. And this would be the perfect gift to get me back into it. So, Chloe, I know you're listening, and I know you said it is beautiful. Just saying. All right. So, yes, this is the Stellan Geos Legacy lightsaber. It becomes available the 23rd of this month, just before Christmas. So if she wanted to get me like a late little Christmas present, I'm not going to complain. I'll be very happy. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a very popular one as well, hopefully. Now, I want to show you these because they're very cool and I love them. So these are some Star Wars like skeleton crew artistic like prints, not prints, drawings that have been commissioned, and I'm just getting the artist up because I want to actually give them a shout out. So they have done this one for episodes 1 and 2, basically, and then they did one for episode 3, which we just had with. So here you got like the X-wings and Kim and that, and I think they look really cool and they're sick. And I'm looking forward to like keeping an eye on these for every every episode. I want to see them. So the artist is CM Low Art. Very cool. Definitely sort of give them a follow. These have been sort of posted on the Star Wars Instas and that. Definitely go check them out because I love this. This is so detailed and so cool. So yeah, just wanted to give them a shout out. But yeah, so like I said, we got episode 1 and 2 sort of. I know episode 2 doesn't really come into this one, but they sort of did one for them because the first 2 episodes came out together, and then obviously episode 3. So now that we are Skeleton Crew ready, it is time to get into it. Now, the episode starts where we are looking at this sort of green, nebula, gassy planet or sort of atmosphere. And we see these satellites around it. Now, I have seen some videos where people have said they look like the satellite dishes from Operation Cinder. So, for those of you who don't know what that is, in the Battlefront 2 campaign, the new one, well, I say the new one, but the 2017, I think it was 2018, something like that. But you know what I mean, anyway. There was in the campaign, Operation Cinder was basically the Emperor's way of basically destroying planets that were important to the Empire, basically. But I think they called a technique in warfare scorched earth, where you just destroy everything in your path, sort of thing. And this was a last resort to destroy key planets that were important, just as if I'm going, you're going with me, sort of thing. Now, obviously, it didn't destroy the whole galaxy, but we do see it in the game, and some people believe this is connected to them. I'm not too sure. I mean, yes, I could see it being used as a reference to Battlefront 2 campaign with it, but also we see in that campaign, Luke grabs a little star map, a little compass thing, and we do see that compass in I think it's the Book of Boba Fett, Luke and Grogu Mando episode. But anyway, so there is obviously connections to the game. I would like to see that, but I don't think this is that in terms of this. I think these are satellites, because obviously this planet here, and I will go into what it's called in a minute, but is obviously one of the 9 Old Republic Jewels planets. This is one of the lost planets, so there's no connection. This is trying to keep their connection to the outside world. They're trying to keep them in. So when the Onyx Cinder left Atatin, we saw the little red dots in the sky. I believe this is what those were around Atatin. It's basically, I think, it creates the barrier to stop people coming and going, but as we learn as the episode goes on, not all is as it seems on this planet. Now, I have seen something that is very cool and a really cool little Easter egg. So, the Onyx Cinder comes out of hyperspace and is flying towards the planet, and the kids and Jod are looking at it through the window, and Jod initially believes it is Atatin. So do the kids. And Jod says, Renaud's ghost, I can't believe it. Now, I know this is really, really funny, but Renaud backwards is Donner, right? Donner, right? And it's an Easter egg reference to Richard Donner, who directed The Goonies. That's cool. That is so cool, isn't it? Like, this show takes a lot of inspiration from The Goonies and from like Treasure Island and Pirates of the Caribbean and all sort of pirate stuff and little like 80s adventure stuff. But The Goonies is one that me and Chloe keep mentioning a lot in terms of like what this pulls things from. And I love that it's like a little nod, like a little Easter egg nod to Richard Donner, who directed obviously The Goonies, which inspired this. Chloe also just mentions looks very much like an Earth planet compared to other planets in Star Wars. Yes, it is very Earth-like. Looks a bit Naboo-y, but it's not what it seems. So as the Onyx Cinder enters the atmosphere, it gets locked into an autopilot sequence, which like takes it down as if like it's landing by itself, which SM-33 sort of takes control of it and lands it manually. So they land and they come on out, and clearly we can see this isn't Atassin. It's very grey, it's very foggy, it's very like gloomy, and it just seems like abandoned and all that. But as the like Onyx is flying over like down into the planet, we do see the sort of like cul-de-sac roads that we see on Atassin. So clearly that the whole like planet is very much like the same as Atassin, but obviously also it's not. So we get a bit where Jod sort of like tastes the air. He's a bit like, and he's like, tastes like ashy dust. A lot like my home planet, actually. Now, we don't know where Jod is from yet. We don't know if it will be revealed in the show. It might do. One of the planets I think someone's reaching for a bit, or some people are reaching for. Again, I might be completely wrong and they might be right, but a lot of people are saying his home planet could be Mustafar. Now, I don't believe that. I think is a bit of a reach, that one. You know, there's so many other planets in Star Wars. What is wrong with him coming from a completely new planet that we haven't seen before? Like, just because it's ashy doesn't mean it's Mustafar. But hey, you know, we might find out, we might not. But I don't think it's a detail that we like really need to like focus on. But again, it is still an interesting thing for him to be like, a lot like my home planet. So the kids are like, right, well, we're going to go see what this is about and explore. And they tell SM-33 to basically to babysit Jod and make sure he stays with the ship. So then SM-33 is like, come on, baby, onto the ship, baby. And Nick Frost is doing a great job, in my opinion, as SM-33. So funny. And it's just funny seeing like Jod like, oh my god, like what is going on here? So then the kids come across, like, they go and find like a house, which is obviously very similar to one of the houses on Atassin that they grew up in. And also, sorry, Chloe just says, I don't believe it either that he is from Mustafar. Thank you for agreeing with me, Chloe, with that. So they go and have a little explore, and they come across like a house that's very similar to theirs, and they sort of break open the sort of doors, and it's all like viney. There's vines everywhere. The trees have overgrown, so clearly, like, this isn't recent a thing that's happened. Like, this has been abandoned like long ago. And Wim says, whatever happened here happened a long time ago, unless do you think we fell asleep for 100 years, like in the Tales of the Knights? Now, I think that's quite cool because obviously he's going by what he has read in his like sort of Star Wars fiction to him, you know. So is he talking about like the old Republic like law that he's been brought up in? Is he talking about like the High Republic? What is he going? You know, like we don't know. So I just think it's a really cool quote as well. Like, you know, it's just that he's got that like still got that child like mentality of like, oh, what if it's this? We could have done this. You know, he's still very like very innocent still. Um, the show also teases, in my opinion. So yes, it isn't, but until the sort of end of the show ish, the show wants you to believe that it's like a Planet of the Apes sort of storyline where it's like obviously the humans leave the world, come back hundreds of years later, thinking they're on another planet, and it turns out they're actually on on Earth again. But like, that's not the case here, and it is revealed that. But obviously, it teases that, and I think that's a cool little way of doing it as well, because you know until you know at the end, you are a little bit like there's a little bit part of you that's like, is it like is it? I don't know. Um, so yeah, they also and something quite interesting that you see as well in this home, like it is identical to sort of Fern's home in terms of like the way the stairs go, the lights, the windows, like the doors. Like it is the same sort of building. It's the same architecture. It is like these planets, these 9 planets, have all been built and done the same way exactly. You know, so clearly there's going to be some reveal that these planets are connected somehow. But obviously this one has, and I would imagine the other 7, apart from Atatin, are also going to be like ruined as well. Do you know what I mean? There's also like a mural that we see in the background in this home, and it is the same mural in Firm's home of the like Neo species, the 3 humans. As I mentioned it, Chloe says it also has the mural on the wall. Yes, so yeah, it's got like the same as like Neo species, the Ithorian, and you know, so clearly Atatin is connected to these societies, but I don't believe that like obviously clearly Atatin doesn't know about these other planets and what happened to them. So we also see as well Jod sort of being a little bit sneaky, shall we say, and he's sort of going through the like kids' belongings to see like what have they got, if they got anything cool, whatever. And he finds a hollow puck in Neil's stuff, and it's the hollow puck of the like circus act that Neil's brothers were watching at home, and but it's like it was shown in the holiday special, and like we see like it's some sort of clowns like jugglers like standing on each other sort of thing. So it's like again another nod to the holiday special in this weird little circus performance. I don't know why we keep going back to it. And then he finds some of like he finds like Wim's Republic credits, like his old Republic credits, and he like tests one. You know, like when people get like gold and you see in pirates and they're like testing if it's real. So that's quite cool as well. Like a little pirate again, another nod to pirates, and I think it's good to see the show like almost um, almost directly pulling iconic moments and scenes or moments that you would associate with the inspiration for the show. The show is about pirates. We are seeing a very pirate act, being like, "Ooh, test the gold if it's real." You see Olympians do it when they win gold medals. You know, it's a iconic thing, and it's cool to see in the show. And then SM33 sort of comes over and he confuses Jod with being a thief. I mean, technically he is being a thief because he's going through their belongings, you know. But he's like, sorry, at Akron is doing something to his wires. So this is the first bit in the episode where we learn this isn't At-Atin, this is another one of the planets called At Akron. So, you know, it's very cool that, you know, that like we're getting moments and stuff like that. So now this might be a bit of a reach, and I have seen someone sort of, again, this is something I got from a video from someone's breakdown, but they were saying Akron could be named after Acheron, 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 as in one of the like sort of fame or like iconic sort of like, I can't remember if it was Greek or Roman like gods or something like that. But also it could also be like a little nod as well to something else. So Acheron was originally was in the original script for Alien as the moon that Nostromo lands on. So again, could be a little nod to like that history and why. But yes, so we're on Akron. Again, another one of the 9, and I do also have some of the other planet names that I will reveal to you later. So he also mentions Atin, and again we also get the line that we hear quite a bit in this episode, which is, can't say I remember no Atin, and we learn why later. So we also have, now this is quite interesting, someone pointed out that, so the little rat that lives in, it's called like Build Rat. So it lives in like the head of SM33. And as he's like telling him like, I can't say I remember no Atin, he sort of like comes out and he almost like hisses at Jod and like stops SM33 from talking. And apparently he's called Snowball. Funny name for a little rat, but Snowball, little build rat, little git, seems to stop SM33 from revealing whatever he was going to sort of like. He's almost like pulling like wires in his head, like to stop him. So we then cut back to the kids and we see Wim has found this like pipe and he's playing what I like to call Jedi. He's like, zoom, zoom. He's playing about. And Neil was walking in the background. You can hear him like wheezing with his trunk. And he goes, this smoke is clogging my trunk. Bless him. As this episode goes on, and you know, I love Neil. I think he's great. I think he's so like innocent, and I'm fully Neil Nation like supporter all the way. Neil Nation all the way. So then the kids come across like, so here we have them here. So they come across this like statue of what appears to be like their world's leader. Now it's, we don't obviously know who it is, but obviously I feel like it's meant to represent something. It's meant to represent someone. Again, I don't know if we will ever find out who it is, but there is a statue very similar to this on Atatin, but the head is one of like Neil's species. But this is what I clearly think this is like a human, someone. So yeah, he. So the kids are a bit like, whoa, what happened here? Also, you can see like how close it is to Atin because there's like a busted like city tram like behind the kids that they see before obviously they see the statue, and obviously a blast of fire comes out of nowhere and sort of scares the birds off it. And the kids then are sort of greeted by some sort of masked bandits, so we call them. And one of the younger kids says like, "What flag do you fly?" Again, very piratey, isn't it? Like, do you fly like skull and crossbones? Like, what? So they say that we basically find out that this girl here is called Hannah, and she tells them that they are a part of the Troic, part of a group called the Troic, which is basically like a clan, like their group, their sort of resistance almost. And she says that she warns of a Hatton patrol, which is coming, which is obviously like one of the other factions, shall we say, that are on this planet. Someone did point out that Hatton patrol sounds a bit like Atatin. Is it connected? I don't think so. But they take cover in the busted like city tram, and we can see an RX like series droid here. One of the Star Troll ones, and one of the ones we see on the on Atatin. So they take sort of cover here, and we see that the like group, the Hatton patrol, like go past, and they do have a sort of like a tank thing. Now, someone pointed out that it looks like an AAT, one of the tanks that the Separatists go. I don't think it is. It doesn't have the front on it. It doesn't have the big cannon on the front. It has like two side cannons. Yeah, I don't think it's one of those. But I can see why people would think that. But no, that's my opinion. I might be wrong, but it doesn't look like an AAT. So Hannah uses like a mirror to see the patrol as they go past. This is also like a little nod to a famous film, Saving Private Ryan, when Tom Hanks does the same sort of trick to see the sniper. So these kids are very like, it's meant to show these kids are very adapt to war and fighting. So they go by, and we then come across the kid. Like Hannah leads them to their like headquarters, which the kids see as their school. So on Atin, this building is the school, but here it's like the base of the resistance. Like it's like the head of the Troic group, and we get introduced to Hannah's father and the leader, General Strix. Now, I think this is because of the way that we see him later in the episode. I think this is meant to be as like a play on words of him being like, he's strict, like. So his name is General Strix. He is like strict. So he sort of speaks to them and says about, we want to see you sort of fight and that, and all of the group sort of go off together. Apart from Neil doesn't want to. So yeah, so we see Jod sort of leading. We then cut to Jod leading SM33 down the ramp, and there's this really cool cut from Strix's like banging his staff in time to then cut to SM33 coming down the ramp, which I think was very cool. Like it was very well timed and looks very cool. And he says, "Where's the treasure?" SM33 like, "Come on, where is it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I remember warriors like these." And then sort of the fog clears a bit, and then at the ramp of the Onyx, there's like a load of people like pointing blasters at them. It's like, oh bugger. So then we see that Hannah takes Neil to the roof of the like resistance base, like the school, and she's like, this is what we do, this is our life, sort of thing. And they get like some rationed food, and then Neil turns around and he sees these two kids that look very hungry and very starving. So Neil, being Neil, he goes over and he gives them his food, because that's what Neil does, because Neil is a legend. We also see some other alien species are like part of the group as well. Like we see a species, Vazunian, which is the same species as Runa, which is like Neil's little crush. But I think after this episode, Neil likes Hannah more. But sorry, Runa, you missed out. You should have treated my boy better. So we see some like other alien species, like I think again we've seen like another Euphorian and that. We also see some Rhodians as well, by the way. We then see Hannah take Neil to like a massive turbo cannon, and it's revealed, and she says to him, its strength is what keeps us safe. So this turbo cannon laser is one of the reasons that the Hatan sort of faction don't attack the resistance base, because obviously these guys have got a massive gun. And we also see as well that in the background, I think it's this one, where is it? I'll get to it. So we see some guys with one of these helmets. Now this is definitely a repurposed like swamp trooper helmet that we see in Solo. Like literally look at it, it is the exact same. Yes, it's got the like markings of the group, but you can clearly see the goggles are the exact same in the helmet shape. So I don't know, I wouldn't say it's like a nod to that, but I would say that this maybe is an indication that I don't know. Is an indication maybe the Empire was here at some point, and this is why the planet is as bad as it is. Maybe Operation Cinder did happen here, and the Empire was here in the early days. So you never know. Now, Chloe's just put, "I don't ship Neil with this girl. I think Neil just wants to help her get away from the war because she's helped them." Well, that leads me into my next point. So we then see sort of Neil being like, "Fighting's bad. Why are you guys fighting? Just stop." Neil then goes into this story about how he had a fight with his brother Jorka, and he stole his protractor, and he still beat Neil. We've seen what Jorka looks like, so we know Neil's not a fighter, and I feel like he's just so innocent and so sweet. Like he doesn't want drama. He doesn't want to fight. He just wants to like live his little innocent, nice life with his family. And so Hannah sort of realizes that he's a good guy because she saw him obviously give food to the hungry kids that he didn't have to do that, and he has like a little sit down and chill with her. And you know, he scoots a little bit closer to her, and she seems like happy, and it's really nice to see. Um, Runa didn't do that, did she? Just saying. um, so then we sort of go back to seeing Wim with this like the kids are still like uh, trying out weapons and blasters, and Wim finds this like proper old like big cannon sort of thing, and you see him actually changing the dial on the side of it, and I think it was a really interesting detail that they like focused on him changing it, and then obviously he fires it and he goes flying back, and General Six is like, great, you're gonna lead us, you lot are gonna lead us into the battle. um and they're like, no, we're not, and he's like, hey, you're gonna do that. um Chloe puts, I think they just reused the armor. If the Imperials were there previously, why let it go to waste? I mean, it's the Empire. You know, they why do they do anything? Again, it's an interesting point, but I feel like there's a reason behind it almost, and maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. Um, so we then see that the kids are leading the troops. Again, we see another one of the couple of helmets here. Like, you know, it is the Imperial Swamp Trooper sort of helmet. Anyway, so they they're leading. The kids are leading the group into the uh, sort of as the scouting party they've become, and Neil sort of freezes and he's like, I'm terrified, I don't want to do this. And Hannah's like, I'll go with them, you know, friends shouldn't be alone, sort of thing. And it's like, that's nice of her. And then out of the by the way, I meant to mention as well, the reason why another thing they've got a problem with the Hatan clan or faction is they stole their Eopes. Now I'll go into that in a bit. But out of the sort of mist and fog, we see Jod and SM33 and the Eopes come back. And basically Jod says he paid the group for these Hatans, for these Eops, and he's returned them. And Strix is like, well, what do you want in return? He's like, I want the kids. I want the 4 kids. And so Strix is like, yeah, sure, go ahead. We get this really nice moment where the sort of kids like come out to him, and it's like, Jod come good, didn't he? And Neil runs over and he gives him a big hug. He's like, you saved us. It's so cool and it's so nice to see. And then sort of they obviously Hannah's like, right, well, I will take you to the Fallen Sanctum, what they call it. It's where they'll find out about like how they can get home, sort of thing. So Hannah leads them there. Oh, sorry, by the way, so this is an Eop that we see, Eope, sorry, that we see in Skeleton Crew. Now they do look a little bit different, but we have seen these in Star Wars before. So we have the iconic Poodoo scene in Phantom Menace, where Jar Jar, just before Anakin does the pod racing, and he's like, Poodoo! And yeah, so we see one here, and then we also see them in Revenge of the Sith. Kenobi rides one when he brings Luke to the Lars Homestead, and we also see he has the same one in Kenobi, which is nice to see that they're, you know, little connection. So yeah, little cool thing. So she brings them to the Fallen Sanctum, and the kids immediately recognize this as the supervisor's tower back on Atatin. So again, a little nod to all the planets being like exactly the same in some way. So this planet sees it as the fallen sanctum. Atatin, to them, it's the supervisor. So clearly they're connected somehow. So she then says this is as far as she can go. So she then, and Neil's like, okay. And she comes and gives Neil a nice little kiss on the cheek. And what he watches her run off. And he's so like, oh. She better not break my guy's heart, because he is happy there. He's a little bit struck there, I think. And he's so cute, and he's just like, oh. And John's like, Neil, let's go, come on. So yeah, that's quite cool. Again, I love the little like Neil Nation. I love Neil, he's so good. And like Chloe mentioned earlier, we need a Funko of him. Yes, I haven't seen one in person yet, but I want a Neil Funko. He is, I love Neil, he's so cool. So they then go in this lift, like a rusty, broken lift that takes them to the top of the fallen sanctum, or the supervisor's tower. Now, for me, when I was watching it, I was getting Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order sort of flashbacks. There's almost like going up, like going through abandoned ships and buildings, and it's like there's these like broken ships and armor and like paneling missing and wires everywhere. And that's what I got when I saw it. I was like, that reminds me of that, which is quite cool. So they enter this tower, top bit, and there's all these pillars around. So the kids come and sort of have a look around, and they Wim wipes the dust off one of the planets, and it's revealed that the plaques on these pillars are the coordinates and the planets of the 9 Republic lost planets. So the first one that we have at Aatu, at Aatu, at Akran, which we are on here, at Arisia, at Aravia, at Akoda, and the last one that we obviously see is at Atin. Obviously, there is other ones there, but you know, because there's 9 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we didn't like go through all the planets, but you know, we now know 6 of the 9, shall we say, which is quite cool. But when we get to the plaque of Atatin, it's been destroyed, and we sort of don't know why. But the coordinates to it is obviously lost. So we see that like SM-33 reveals that like he destroyed the coordinates last time he was in the room with his old captain, and Fern's like, why did you do that? And he's like, I can't say, like, you know, I can't say I remember no at him, whatever. And we get this little moment where sort of Fern has a bit of a wobble, a bit of loss of confidence, a bit upset, and she sort of goes over to the window, and Wim goes over, and he sort of gives her a bit of encouragement. You know, she's like, I can't do this. I can't be this person. And he's like, no, you've got us fathered and I would have, you know, you're the leader, sort of thing. And then she sort of gets an idea of like, wait, SM-33 can't say because he was ordered not to say. So she basically overrides his memory by saying, I order you to tell me. And he said last time that he was in this room, his captain, he was here with his captain, and his captain ordered him to kill any of the crew that saw the coordinates to Aten. So he obviously does that, and then he also says it's a bit like I think it's Biff. I can't remember which one it is. Biff in Back to the Future 2, where he's like, he said one day you'd come like if anyone come along, I'd have to end you, sort of thing. And he basically says the same thing, where he's like, he was told if anyone came along and started asking questions about Aten, that he was to destroy them and pull them like limb from limb. And SM-33 sort of like turns around and like makes himself big, like we see in that fight scene at the port. And he's like, his arms like sort of extend, his body extends. It's very much like the infiltrator droids that we see in Rebels. You know, the like blue droid that finds the planet and then turns into like basically like a killing assassin that the rebels then send back to the Empire and it destroys them. Is a bit like that. And we get this also really creepy shot of like almost like it's like the camera locked in on him on SM's face as he like turns and moves around. It's quite creepy. And the kids are sort of Fern, Wim, and KB sort of on the floor and they're a bit like, do we say, scared? And as he's approaching them, he's like, limb from limb. A rock gets thrown at SM, and it's Neil. Neil has picked up a rock and throws it at him. He's like, leave him alone. I was like, oh, Neil, my boy, the hero. Chloe just put giving Terminator vibes. Very much so. Like, I'll be back. So SM-33 then comes towards Neil, and Jod sort of comes around and jumps and like hits the deactivation switch. So SM-33 sort of like stumbles and stops moving before almost crushing Neil. And Neil's like, and he just passes out. He just passes out before getting squashed. Like he'd be thinking he was about to like die and get squashed. I love this guy. This guy is so cool. And yeah, the episode like ends there. And yeah, I mean, you know, every time I watch one of these episodes, because I have no idea where this show is going at all, I'm just like, well, now I need to know what happens now. Like, how can you leave me like this? Again, another sort of good episode. Not my favorite episode of the show so far, but some really cool little nods to other franchises. And again, not saying that it's a bad episode, because it is a really good one. I just not my favorites. And the visuals as well, it just had this whole grey gloomy look to it, which you know, isn't overly a bad thing sometimes. I mean, I just feel like I want to know more. I want to see more action. Like it's building so much. Can we just put? I need to know if Neil's okay. Yes, so do I. It's like that. I think I might make a meme of, you know, when Anakin's like, "Is Padme all right? Is she safe?" I think I need to do that meme, but for Neil, because I can't have anything happening to him. But yeah, no, again, a good episode, and this whole Aten mystery just keeps on building and building, and I can't wait till we finally like discover what is going on with it. But yeah, moving on to Trooper of the Week. I know this is a bit funny, but I'm sticking with the Neil theme here. So This guy is called. Hang on, let me just find him. So it's Timbo Toys, right? And he basically does like figures, and he does little like figure photo shoots as well. And he's done Neil go into a. Chloe just put, "Where is Neil? Is he safe? Is he all right?" Yes, I will be. We will be making this meme. I'm telling you that now, Chloe. We'd have to. Um, but yeah, going back to Timbo Toys, he's created this little scene with like the Black Series Neil, um, visiting like a Star Wars toy shop. So this guy has like created little pictures of like vintage collection toys, and there's like Funkos, and Neil's got like a little Luke in his hand, and he's like at the shop, like, like literally as any Star Wars kid being like, "Ooh, I want this one," and it's so cleverly done, and I love the detail and the like effort that they have put into this. You know what I mean? Um, and his little Neil as well. Like you could imagine Neil is like in the sort of Star Wars toy shop, shall we say? Um, but yeah, this is very cool. Timbo Toys, you get a big shout out because that is definitely so cool. My troop of the week. Um, so going on to meme of the week, we are keeping it Christmas themed. So you might have seen this one before, but it's my mum still hasn't noticed, and it's a picture of the like nativity that someone has got set up with all their like figures, and someone has put Yoda as visiting the baby Jesus. He's in there with the donkey and the wise men and all that, and I think it's so cleverly done. Like they just haven't noticed that Yoda was there. um, yeah, Chloe just said she loves. I love the mini boxes. So these like little creations, like look at the like little Black Series figure that they've made for like it's just pictures that they've cut out, but it just looks so like detailed and looks like Neil was like, I want this Luke Skywalker. So very cool. Um, so yeah, I think that's quite a funny Christmas meme of the week. Um, yes. So that is it for this week. I can't believe I've been talking straight for like an hour and 20 basically. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you have enjoyed my breakdown of the Skeleton Crew episode 4. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Hopefully next episode, I'm hoping, Chloe is back and joins me so I can have my partner to bounce off, because it feels weird doing it by myself without her now. But yeah, so obviously next week there won't be a episode because next Thursday is Boxing Day, and obviously we are in the Christmas sort of build up week now. So we will probably be doing an episode the 29th or something. It will be later in the evening. I'm working a lot over the Christmas period, which is, that's how life goes. So so from me and from Chloe, we hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. Hope you get loads of like nice gifts, not just Star Wars related, like anything. Hope you have a nice time with your family. As we approach the end of this year, I just want to say a thank you from myself and from Chloe for you guys joining us. This has been a pretty cool year in terms of what this podcast has, done and we've achieved. We got to meet Kevin Scott and do an interview with him, which, when I started the podcast, would I have thought that was ever going to happen? Or no, but we're getting there, we're growing. every time that we see one of you guys either like our Instagram pictures or videos or TikTok videos or whatever, it means a lot to us because we're just two Star Wars nerds that are passionate about it and love talking about it with you guys and spreading the Christmas joy. Well, not just Christmas joy, but like getting to know you and build our Star Wars community that we have. Chloe's just put here for you guys. Have a Merry Christmas, Troopers. And I agree very much with that sentiment. We will see you obviously after Christmas, and yes, hopefully next year will be our best run yet. We want to make 2025 the podcast best year. We want more guests. We want to be doing more interactions with you. We want to do so much. So, yeah, again, thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining me and putting up with me today. Yes, as Chloe just put, thank you for joining in with us this year. You mean a lot to us. You do really do. Anyone who listens, yeah. But that's it from me. Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening and week, and we will see you after Christmas. So from me, guys, Merry Christmas and may the Force be with you. And one more time, hey troopers.